everyone. Omar wanted me to start this early before he, got his camera's issues fixed, and today we're just going to be um, going over the current events, specifically relating to Israel and the House Speaker vote, and then if we have enough time later, we'll do a couple classic segments. So recently, Biden has made a visit to the state of Israel. What I tend to think of as, a settler colonial apartheid state. But here it is. Fox 11 LA breaks this down for us. And clearly, in doing this, he's trying to keep relations good with Netanyahu and, trying to ingratiate himself with that, broader geopolitical bloc in the Middle East. There's just Israel in and of itself. So
in Gaza that has left hundreds of people, including women and children, dead. Israel gearing up for President Biden's arrival tomorrow. But guess what? Now there's a change of plans for the president. Biden's plan to visit Jordan after Israel has been canceled after Jordan's foreign minister announced he is canceling the regional summit Biden was supposed to be a part of. Biden was to meet with Jordan's King Abdullah II and also the presidents of Egypt and Palestine. Instead, Jordan's foreign minister said he will host the summit only when everyone had agreed its purpose would be to, quote, stop the war, respect the humanity of the Palestinians, and deliver the aid they deserve.
And the president utterly refuses to do this. I don't know what his logic is on this issue. I just can't get into his mindset when these are the reckless decisions he's making.
There will be U.S. involvement. Israel will not be alone. From our perspective, it's something that we really feel. It gives us strength.
Okay, back to the...
I don't know how that's possible.
Here's a look at the...
Like, everybody's got to come to the negotiating table. I thought, because everybody wants to talk a big game about respecting the humanity. Oh, we want peace in the Middle East. We want to end the violence between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Okay, let's acknowledge an oppressed group's humanity first. And then from there, we can actually come to the negotiating table. But the U.S. has utterly refused to do that.
Math. Hamas-run health ministry says as many as 500 people were killed. The hospital packed with wounded and other Palestinians seeking shelter Tuesday. Then there's this tweet from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He writes on X, the entire world should know it was barbaric terrorists in Gaza that attacked the hospital in Gaza and not the IDF. But Hamas says it was the IDF. Meanwhile, on the Gaza Strip itself, a major humanitarian crisis is
so we can't report, we can't, conclude this either way without an investigation conducted by an independent organization that's not really aligned with either Israel or Palestine. Now, intuitively, I would tend to believe it was the IDF that actually set this, sort of bomb off. And, in truth, it probably did not kill 500 people. It just, went off in the car parking lot, damaged a few empty cars, and it doesn't really seem like any civilians were affected. But, it was just reported as, okay, a hospital had a bomb go off on its premises. So I don't, in terms of the bomb attack, Israel and the U.S. are thinking it was a rival terrorist group to Hamas, Islamic Jihad. But there's no confirmation of this, without an independent investigation.
Scant shelter, fast depleting food supplies, little or no access to clean water, sanitation, medicine, and other basic needs.
This is how the Palestinians are living.
Biden's arrival, American involvement in this war is deepening. The Pentagon issuing ready to deploy orders to some 2,000 troops in the region, but say they will be used for military advising and medical support, not for combat. And not
Right. I'm really scared about the prospect of, our own military in an active combat zone. I really do not like that prospect.
To be deployed inside the Gaza Strip. Now it's currently just past 3 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday in Israel. It's a new day. It's set to dawn as Biden is en route right now. The hope is still that his visit helps prevent a much broader regional conflict.
So what's the main deal?
We can only hope.
With Jordan, why did that happen, and what happens next on that front?
It's an Arab state. It's closely aligned with Palestine and sees Israel's existence because of the 1948 partition as, an incursion into the Middle East by foreign powers, which I tend to agree with. It pretty much is. under the British Mandate of Palestine, Jews were only a small minority of the actual population there. And the influx of Jews that came in after the Holocaust had only been living there for, even if they had gone there at earliest 1938, even if they had gotten there then, they would have only been living there, 20 years? But then the Palestinians have been living there for centuries. I mean, like, their own books, passages in the Tanakh acknowledge that the Palestinians are a unique people apart from the Hebrew-speaking peoples. That's just how the culture was and still is. But the Palestinians are being colonized.
Palestinians who, about 1 million at this point, have reportedly evacuated, heeded that call. Yeah. But a lot of them are stuck, and they're at UN-run schools, and they're not getting the supplies they need. So Jordan basically saying, until they get the supplies, we're not going to host this meeting.
That's their leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we are seeing the horrors of war.
Mm-hmm.
So they get the supplies? Let me just check that.
We're not going to host this meeting. Jordan basically saying, until they get the supplies, we're not going to host this meeting.
That's their leverage.
Mm-hmm. Schools, and they're not getting the supplies they need. A lot of them are stuck, and they're at UN-run schools, and they're not getting the supplies they need. So Jordan basically saying, until they get the supplies.
Yeah, I mean, the Palestinians in Gaza are only operating on so many resources. I mean, so I think Israel just vowed to cut their access to water and access to humanitarian aid. I'm pretty sure they're blocking that passage with Egypt. If I were to fact check this on the spot, hold on. Israel blocks aid to Palestine. Here's something from New Republic. Sorry it took me a long time to pull it up. But we just touched on this point, and I didn't know that we would. Israel is blocking vital humanitarian aid from Gaza. As a ground invasion looms, Gaza's hospitals are buckling, and trucks carrying food and life-saving medical equipment are stuck at Israel's border. Trucks transporting badly needed humanitarian aid to Gaza are stuck outside Israel's border with Egypt, ahead of a planned ground offensive that has strangled the region's access to fuel, medicine, food, and water. Rafah crossing, Gaza's lifeline for international aid, has been closed for more than a week after Israel bombed the checkpoint, rendering the passageway inoperable, reported Reuters. Again, a nonpartisan, independent organization, a journalistic organization that is highly credible. Israel has continued to bomb the area. So, not only is the Israeli government under Netanyahu outright just refusing to let humanitarian aid into Gaza, they are also bombing the port of entry by which that humanitarian aid could get into the Gaza Strip. And, how can Israel legitimately freaking claim to stand for human rights and to actually hold themselves accountable for their own crimes against humanity, when this is what they're still doing in 2023 under Netanyahu's brazenly fascistic leadership? Do you really think that they're, the rational, geopolitically calculating actor in this conflict? Or are they the most authoritarian, most ethno-nationalistic, most fascistic ones? I mean, you tell me. But this whole conflict, it just drains and drains your faith in humanity, which is why I wanted to get to this, absolutely inane segment from conservative media, specifically PragerU.